Hello and welcome to Pedalling Past. We're Guy and Sarah, and today we're in the fantastic medieval town of King's Lynn. I mean, obviously it's not medieval now, but a really, really important town and city in the medieval period in England. And we've got a super route here that I think will unlock a lot of the rich history of this area. And because it's Norfolk, it's totally flat and it's traffic free. So where are we off, Sarah?
So we're going from King's Lynn to Castle Rising, and that's got a beautiful castle in the centre of the village, and then we're moving on to the royal estate of Sandringham, and then looping back into King's Lynn past lots of Roman villas and Roman roads. So it'd be lovely.
Yeah, and bonus.
Sorry, the distance, it is 50 kilometres, that's 30 miles, and the bonus
Is the Time Team Church.
Of course.
I don't know. So, I showed her this on the YouTubes last night.
We watched it last night, yes.
So yeah, a little bonus as we come back into King's Lynn. But yeah, I think you'll be really surprised by how much history and how beautiful this area is. It's somewhere you can easily skip past on the way, deeper into Norfolk, because we've done routes there as well. But King's Lynn, I've spent loads of time doing work recently for Cycling UK in the area, including, this where we stood now is on the Rebellion Way, which is the big route around Norfolk that I put together for Cycling UK, the UK cycling charity. But it's just such a rich little patch of history, and also really, really cycling friendly. Cycle paths everywhere. So let's talk about the chapel behind us, and then we'll roll down to the harbour side at King's Lynn, where, there's some lovely medieval remains. Right, I'm whittering on. Anyway, this is the Red Mountains, it's Sarah?
Yes, that's right. It is the Chapel of Our Lady of the Mount.
And this is the first stop on the pilgrimage route to Walsingham.
That's right.
Which is another route we've done for Pedalling Past. And so, yeah, it's medieval, as you can see, octagonal chapel, very, very rare. And the other rare thing about it, the stairs are arranged so you come in up here, you go around, and then you come out at the back of it. So you could have a constant procession of pilgrims going through it. Very, very efficient pilgrim management strategy for the medieval period.
It must have been really popular.
Oh yeah, they still get 250,000 visitors every year.
Yes,
at Walsingham, the Nazareth of the UK, as it's known. So, and there's loads of other medieval remains in the park here. So we're going to scoot on from here down to the waterfront, and then head out into the countryside. So, really hope we'll join with the pair of us as we head off into Norfolk for Pedalling Past for some time travel gravel. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering why we're playing kind of cycle touring dress up, we're not going. This is only, like I say, it's only a 50k 30-mile loop, but we've got to shoot some video for Cycling UK on cycle touring with e-bikes. So we're taking it easy in terms of having a motor, but making it look like we're going a long way in terms of having bags. Don't tell them we kind of cheated. Shh. So here we are down by the Staithes on King's Lynn, and you were saying?
Is the Viking word for key.
Exactly. So we have got a very, very important harbour stretching back at least to the Viking period, but really coming into its own in the medieval period. This was one of the most important ports, not only in England, but the whole of the Baltic and North Sea area. And it was one of the Hanseatic ports, which is kind of like an early EU, really.
Yeah.
So you've got these trading agreements, and there were traders from those other cities like Bremen, Hamburg, who had houses and warehouses here, and actually, had business interests heading out into Norfolk from here. But an absolutely thriving trading port, fishing port, and such a prosperous place as well. There's a beautiful guild hall, there's an amazing minster, there's Elizabethan buildings with towers, there's some lovely restaurants. We had tea last night. In Marriott's, was it?
Yes, and that's an old wharf building.
Yeah, it's an old warehouse with amazing beams inside it. And you've been I'm not putting words in your mouth here when I say you've been blown away by King's Lynn.
Yeah, it's really pretty. And if you're a fan of Bruges or like Rotterdam, or you've travelled and been cycling in Holland or Belgium, this is so similar. It's a really similar feel.
Yeah, you could really save yourself a trip by just coming to King's Lynn. But I'm delighted that Sarah's liked it, because I've been, I came through here when I was plotting the Rebellion Way routes and also some of the experience hubs for Cycling UK, and I was like, they weren't going to put the Rebellion Way through here originally, but I was like, no, you've got to come into King's Lynn. It's a fascinating, really rich historical place. You've got beautiful marketplaces, like I say, and loads of the town is Georgian as well. And they've done it up really nicely too. And yeah, and it's incredibly cycle friendly. But probably if you're wondering who the chap behind you is, before we go on to before we head out to Sandringham for the rest of the route, I'm going to let you do a quick introduction.
So this is Captain George Vancouver. And you've probably all heard the name Vancouver, and anything that is named Vancouver is named after this chap. He joined Captain Cook's expeditions when he was 13 years old, but the thing he's most famous for is he went on a mapping expedition and mapped all up the Pacific coast, right up to Alaska.
So, there you go. Captain George Vancouver, King's Lynn resident. Oh, and isn't there some sculpture on that harbour house behind us?
This is beautiful. So I don't know if you can see from here, but around it there's masks of all the sea gods on the outside.
Fantastic. It's a maritime wonderland. So, as always, there's a GPX map file that goes with this route, but in terms of King's Lynn, I'd just say follow your nose.
Yes.
We've been rolling around it this morning, and the other thing is, give yourself plenty of time, because there's so much to see here and at the castle and at Sandringham and everything like that. I mean, it's true of all our routes, really, isn't it?
Yes.
Once you start hopping off your bike and exploring these places, that adds a lot of time. So they might seem short on distance if you're an enthusiastic cyclist, but just make the most of it. Make a day of it. So that's exactly what we're going to do now.
Yep.
For a bit of Pedalling Past. And now we're heading out of King's Lynn, through the park again, so we can cross over the railway on the cycle path. And then it's cycle path all the way out of town. Like I said, such a cycle-friendly place, this. And now we're heading out along the old railway path, which is now a cycle path, to the Wootons. So if you're navigating out of town, there are loads of cycle paths in King's Lynn. Just look out for the Sandringham railway path, the Wootons, or Susterton's NCN1, which is National Cycle Network 1. Because they all go the same way. Now we're going through the Wootons on another totally traffic-free path, past the village church. And then we just pop out onto the road for a bit. But actually, no, it's even cycle path there. It's crazy. This route is so cycle-friendly. Sarah's actually getting quite cross, because it's so cycle-friendly compared to where we live in Harrogate. But never mind, we'll enjoy it. And we're just going to cross up here. And again, even more bike-friendly cycle path. And there you go, that's what we're looking for. That one means Susterton's Network number 1. And now we're out into the Wootons. This is North Wooton. Lovely little villages, these. On our way to Sandringham for a cup of tea with the King. I was really only there at Christmas. And but anyway, it's just a really nice part of Norfolk, is this. And now we're heading into Castle Rising itself. Guess what Castle Rising's got? And now this is Castle Rising itself. One of the best preserved 12th century Norman keeps in the country, and surrounded by this bailey with this huge moat and ditch, up to 18 metres high, these ramparts in places. And while a lot of the fortifications are gone now, the keep's actually really well preserved, despite the fact it was only occupied for quite a short time. It was actually the home of Queen Isabella for a bit, but interestingly, after passing like castles do, being fought over, swapped around, over the years, it's ended up in the hands of basically the same family who originally set it up. Its founder, William de Albini, the family that used to have that, still owned it and bequeathed it to English Heritage now. So have your English Heritage cards ready if you want to visit, and it's open from Wednesdays while Sundays, so during the winter, so don't come early in the week during winter. But as you can see, it's beautiful from the outside, but inside there's some fascinating details. There's beautiful staircases, fireplaces, a really nice galleried walk around the upper hall, the guardrobes, the kitchen, the chapel, and you can even see there's a room that's obviously been inhabited quite recently because it's actually plastered and has got a little cast iron fireplace in there. And it wasn't really a fortified place as such, it was more sort of an administrative centre, and just, you know, it's just a lovely place to live. And we're now going to head out over the large medieval deer park, which means
more traffic-free cycling over to Sandringham.
Thank you, Sarah. And Castle Rising is a beautiful village in its own right. It's a conservation village, so it's really nicely looked after. There's a cafe as well, the pub here, these beautiful buildings, and this massive estate church here. And now we're going through the deer park. I don't know if you can see, but there's another ruined church sat in the middle there. We're definitely getting near Sandringham now. Beautiful gatehouses, fancy signs, big rhododendron hedgerows, lovely quiet roads. Mrs. K vanishing into the distance because she knows there's tea and cake just around the corner. Because that's really the whole kind of mission of this channel, to join up beautiful scenery, fascinating history, and cups of tea by bike. And now we've stopped for tea and cake at Sandringham. There's a lovely cafe and shop here, as well as obviously the royal house. And there's also loads of guided walks and activities in a 243 acre. And now we're going past the royal stud and stables, where the Queen used to keep all her racehorses. I don't know, I'm not sure King Charles is into racehorses. The Queen really was. He's more sort of potted plants and
Likes the farmers, Mark.
Likes your farm, likes a bit of Dutchy organic pork, but I don't know, maybe he does pig racing. Who knows? Answers in the comments below. And what I really like about the roads around here, they're all called, and this is, I think, this definitely has a royal name, but you get Commodore Lodge and Admiral Road, and it's all very Napoleonic. But actually, Sandringham was first used as a royal residence by Queen Victoria, and then was open to the public, Queen's Jubilee, in 1977. So you can now go and tour around the house. Unfortunately, the house isn't visible from the road or from the paths nearby, so that's why I'm just chatting to you as we're going along this beautiful parade of wide open regal trees across the Norfolk, slightly rolling Norfolk countryside at this point. Hey up, we're being shot at, I best go. And now we've got our first bit of off-road gravel riding. Just heading south to into the Roman landscape. I mean, you can head a bit further east from here and actually join Pedder's Way, and that takes the route up to 56 kilometers, so nearer 40 miles. And also Pedder's Way can get a bit sticky if it's been raining. So this is definitely the surefire way of doing things, and dare I say, one straight ancient track is very much like another. So we could just pretend this is the old Roman and prehistoric way of Pedder's Way. But otherwise, it's literally just over there. But this whole area is littered with barrows as well. So, well, there you go. I must have actually had a bit of a second sense going on there, because there's me saying that one bit of straight road with gravel on is much like another, and it turns out we have actually. Although it's weird, it's not marked on the maps as the Icknield Way, but the Icknield Way is the old Roman road, all the way from the south up to the Wash, and the castle's up there, up to the Wash. So we have actually been cycling along a Roman road, but you know, that little lane back there is just the kind. And the Icknield Way has dropped us into a rather beautiful village of Flitcham. And you might not be surprised that, as there's a Roman road running through it, this whole area is loaded with Roman villas as well. There is just history everywhere. I guess that's Flitcham Hall through there. Probably can't even see it through the trees. Just brings home what a prosperous area this has been for so long on account of the farming. And by the way, if you're wondering why it seems to be me chatting a lot on this episode rather than Mrs. K, it's because frankly, if we're not in the tandem, she just keeps clearing off. Right, we've just come up to the junction of Fakenham Road here, but I mean, it's only, looks like the A148, so it doesn't sound that busy on a map, but it is actually quite a busy road even in February. So just pop onto the pavement and then cross on foot, because we're just heading over there. We're not going along the main road at all, because you know, we really do spend a lot of time at Pedalling Past making sure you don't have to suffer from heavy traffic roads. So yeah, just to let you know, don't worry when you get to this junction, it is busy, but just be patient, hop across when it's clear, and then we're straight onto rural tracks again. In fact, probably the old way again, unlabelled, a random road. Finally caught Mrs. K up. So, how are you enjoying Roman Norfolk again, Mrs. K?
I really like Norfolk. I think these cycle paths have been really low traffic and really well signposted for us to find our way round, and yeah, it's been really nice. Really pleasant.
Yeah, we keep joking, we never thought that Norfolk would be such a big part of our lives, because you'd think, you know, living in the Yorkshire Dales, we want to stay there and cycle. But I put together a load between the experience hubs for Cycling UK and doing the Rebellion Way route, and you know, doing the videos for that and the guidebook and everything, which is, you know, it's things like that that really inspired us to do Pedalling Past, kind of cut that history by bike idea into more bite-sized chunks. And
I've never been a person that's been one for staying in this country, to be honest. I've always liked a foreign holiday, so finding out more about the different areas of the country has just been such an experience for me. I just find there's so much in this country that is to be discovered that you just don't know about.
right, we best concentrate. It's getting a little bit double tracky here, but you know, we say it's time travel gravel, and by that we mean there will be some light off-road farm track sections sometimes, but you know, I'm on a mountain bike today of sorts, but Sarah's just on a hybrid, and we'll never take you over anything more taxing than, so you know, you can handle on a bike like that. He says with his foot flying off on a bit of a roller coaster. But yeah, I mean, but by having that little bit of leeway, you know, because we're not stuck to roads all the time, it just lets you find, you know, random bits of Roman road in the middle of nowhere. And as you can see, if you go to a place like Norfolk, I mean, this is mid-February. We're riding along on sand.
It's dry.
It's fantastic going. And it's just beautiful out here, totally traffic free. Just us, we've had a hare running along the minute before. It's just a great way to see the countryside because you're actually in it, not staring at it through a glass window. Yeah, riding through beautiful woods in the footsteps of Romans, medieval cattle drovers, traders, Saxons, prehistoric folks as well, because there's loads of, obviously this area, there's quite a lot of flint in it, which is your main prehistoric tool, and there's loads of tumuli, burial mounds around here, and Bronze Age talks as well. And now we've just stopped in Grimston, the village of Grim, or another name, Odin's often interchangeable with Grim. And it's a you know, old Saxon Viking village, and it had its own pottery, Grimston ware, which was traded very, very popular in Scandinavia throughout the medieval period, and even found in Italy and Spain. So kind of like IKEA backwards was Grimston ware. And it's halfway around the route, and it's got a post office, which is handy if you're running low on snacks. It's got a lending library and a defibrillator in an old phone box if you're running low on learning or heart rate, and a really nice little memorial clock spire thing over there too. So there you go, Grimston. And the road we're on now, it's a dead straight road. It's called the Lysiat Drove. So it's not the most inspiring, to be honest, it's not the most inspiring section of the trip, especially after the fun of the Icknield Way. But going back into past, it's the way that all the farmers and merchants would have taken their cattle to the summer markets in King's Lynn and brought them back from there when it was such an important Hanseatic trading port. But then just as you come around the corner and over the brow here, look out for that sign and this willow tree, and we're just heading down another section of bridle path, which not only cuts out a section of busy road into King's Lynn, but also gets us a bonus Bronze Age tumulus, apparently. So we'll see if we can see that in the field. And I'm guessing that mound there is the tumulus. That's quite a big one. That's a good sized barrow, is that? So yeah, Bronze Age, 4,500, well, 4,000 to 4,500 years old. That's been somebody important, or an important family under there, looking out over this area. And again, it's just another example of the sheer depth of history on this route. Really is such a cracking pocket of interest, this. And now we're going past Lysiat Heath. It's a RSPB nature reserve, because it's just an area of big flooded sand quarries. And then we're rolling along one of the sand tracks through these quarries now, so just go a bit steady if you're on narrow tyres. Sand can be a bit grabby. That's why Sarah's taking it more gingerly on her hybrid. And here's one of those Lysiat lagoons. So, cracking spot. Just up for a sandy picnic if you wanted. But we're not far out of King's Lynn now anyway. Just got one more little historical treat before we're heading back into town. Right, so we're at another road junction heading into Kings Lynn, which, oh, crikey, police interceptors moment. Yeah, so we don't want to be on this road, but luckily we turn literally just up there. So what I'm probably going to do is just push up the grass verge there, to be honest, and then just pop off to the right.
If you're a fan of Time Team, you might recognise this is St James's in the village of Ballsby.
Ballsy.
Ballsy. Right, we'll start. If you're a fan of Time Team, you might recognise this. This is St James's Church and Ballsy. And they did some work here and they found the cemetery, they found loom weights from the Saxon era, and they found some flint arrowheads. You can see from that rounded archway that the church is actually a Norman structure, but clearly by what Time Team found, there's been inhabitants here from Saxon times, probably before that.
Well, the Bronze Age. The flint arrowhead was Bronze Age. And quite possibly, given the rest of the landscape we're riding through, Roman as well. And what was most interesting about the landscape, though, if we look around,
this, you can see, if you look here, this was once an island. And you can see really clearly that this was once like the estuary to the river. But now it's all land.
Yeah, so effectively, well, Kings Lynn, I mean, you can see the bypass over there, and that's Kings Lynn there. Effectively, this was in the sea, you know, just at the foot. Where the bypass is now was the sea. And this was... judging from what they were saying, I think they were saying it was a monastic site, weren't they? They thought quite possibly a priory.
Yes, they thought it was. I mean, I think it's a big site. When you come to it, it is really a big site. So it's more than a church.
And fascinating little diversion that dodges the main road as well. So, time travel gravel win, I think.
Definitely.
And I'll put a link to the Time Team episode.
Good idea.
If you fancy a bit of Tony Robinson and the Somerset chap with the apparently fake accent. And Clarenza, I think Sandy Toxvig's on it as well.
Sandy Toxvig's definitely.
Yeah. So there's some Viking elements on the site as well. But I wish people wouldn't bloody leave litter. That's going in the pannier to come home. Well, this is a much nicer way to travel than heading around the ring road or into one of the busy roads into Kings Lynn. And I've got to thank people from Kings Lynn Council tipping us off on this one when I was putting the Rebellion Way route together. They're really struggling with a, well, almost traffic-free way to get into Kings Lynn. And they were like, you need to go by St James's Church. I thought you would be anyway, because it's like a major medieval site that's been on Time Team. So I was like, whoops, slipped up on the research there, but we're winning now, aren't we, Mrs. K?
Oh, yeah, it's lovely. It's Sunday.
Mrs. K's got much narrower tyres. So, struggling a bit on the Saturn.
Oh! I just got
and the pheasants. But, you know, because it's sand, it means it's really well draining. So, like I say, this, you know, this is the middle of February and it's this easy to ride. So, a lovely bit of gravel, sand, whatever you want to call it. Off-road, traffic-free riding. So, we've just snuck into Kings Lynn over the back of the main road. And now, of course, it being Kings Lynn, we've got a nice cycle path. And we've been trying to spot muntjac deer all day. And then we've come into Kings Lynn, past the school, because Sarah really wanted to see a muntjac. And then we've come to Kings Lynn, past the school on this cycle path. There's been a good dozen, wasn't there, in the field?
Oh, yeah.
Just in the playing field. So, yeah, Sarah's happy. You happy now?
Yes, but it does make me laugh that we've been
Are you happy,
riding.
dear? Hey!
We've been riding in all these rural locations, come back into town and they're all sat on the school playing field having a fag.
In fact, the only thing I would say is that there are so many cycle paths coming back into Kings Lynn, it's quite easy to get lost. So when you start off, follow the signs for the school and the hospital, then follow the signs for Hardwick Industrial Estate, and then you'll pick up sounds for the town centre. And then you get to come along this wonderful wiggly cycle path through the woods. Just watch out for the bits where it goes either side of a tree. This is mad. What a great cycle path. I love the fact they've just like, yeah, we'll go both sides, fine. Right, so here we are, back at the Red Mount in the Pilgrim Chapel, and we're going to have to be quick because we're trying to film this as the away fans leave Kings Lynn football ground just over there, heading to the station in that direction. So yeah, it's great train links as well. So we really hope you've enjoyed this ride with us. To be honest, it's been even better than we expected, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been lovely.
Yeah, especially with St Felix and a bonus Icknield Way, and lovely football chants in the background. So, like I say, Kings Lynn, lovely place. We hope you've enjoyed looking around it. Hope you enjoyed Sandringham. Hope you enjoyed the Roman aspects. But make sure you click to subscribe, click for notifications, give this a thumbs up. If you've got any questions or suggestions, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. But best thing you can do is just tell people about the channel if you enjoyed watching us ride around this loop from Kings Lynn to Sandringham. But for now, we've been Guy
And Sarah,
taking you out of Kings Lynn for some
time travel gravel.